Hello, everyone. My name is Trent, but most of you know me as IT Guy, and welcome back to the Blockchain Gaming Podcast. In this episode, I have Beatsmebydre on the show to talk about the interesting changes in Coin Hunt World this week. We'll review what we've talked about on our first episode together and how the game has changed in the past year. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. Beats, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me back. There's so much to talk about.
There really is. Obviously, this is the second time around on the podcast. I mean, actually, you've been on the podcast, I guess, 3 times now, if you want to include the Zach and Beats episode as well. But so you've been on the podcast the most out of anybody.
Yes, thank you. All right,
did
great. I did it. I won something.
There you go.
Thank you.
I feel like it's only right to start the podcast off with one of your favorite questions of mine, and that would be since we last spoke, so that would be it was probably August of last year. I think
August
it was
6th.
August 6th. It was August 6th. So I just want to know, between now and then, what are some of the things you're most proud of in the game that you've accomplished, or some of your best accolades?
The only thing that I would bring up is being number 1 in January globally. So I completed all the quest lines between then and now, so that was cool.
That's
and
huge.
I've probably lost a bunch of keys in the auction house. Those are probably the 3 things that I've done. So one actually gets an NFT out of it, and the rest are just kind of there.
Yeah,
so, yeah, cool.
For sure. No, that's much better than any of my accolades that I've done. But, it's funny that you bring up the auction house, because that was a topic of discussion that we had on our last podcast. I think a lot of what we said on there was pretty funny, and I'll be coming with some refreshers. But before then,
I'm prepared. I listened to it.
Okay, good. And if you're listening right now or watching and you haven't listened to the first episode, you might want to stop and then go back and listen to it, because the change is going to be drastic, and you'll get a lot of the context as well. So so before we get started on any of the stuff that happened in the last episode, I was kind of running through it, and I wanted to ask you 2 questions that I had about the podcast that I'm surprised I didn't ask you at the time. Maybe I was slightly nervous or something. So on our first podcast together, you said that you were on a game show, and for some reason I glanced right over that. Like, I just was like, oh, that's cool, but I never got the story. So I want to know what game show you were on, and how that kind of happened to come around.
All right, so I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire back in 2008. And I did kind of glance over it, and actually had ended up saying something because Kay had asked me about it in one of our streams that we had done. But yeah, of course, hey, you see me, you hear me, sure, go back in those archives and find me, because there you go, you'll find me. So I got on that show because obviously I love trivia, but I had a friend that had actually said, hey, I'm going to audition for this show. Like, why don't you just come with me? We'll go hang out in New York. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Like, I like trivia. Yeah. And we went. And so the process, if you guys want to hear this, and
I've seen Slumdog Millionaire, so I basically know the whole thing.
you know the whole thing. So what you do is you win $1 million by having some random 3 Musketeers question.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Right. All right. It's good. So you go in this big room and you take a test, and it's just a trivia test. It's not like the SATs or anything. So if you're good at trivia, you can go take this test. If you pass the test, these guys just kind of interview you, and they just want to see that you have 5 minutes of charisma in you, right? Okay. So if you can just make it bubble up for a couple of minutes, you can do it. Take a couple shots and you can do it. Mm-hmm. And if they like that, then they send it off to the producers, and in a couple of weeks you might get a phone call, and that's what happened. So I got a phone call, and they said, hey, you want to be on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And at the time, I don't know if any trivia fans remember this, it used to be a fastest finger. You would sit down in like a little semicircle, and then it was like, okay, put these quarterbacks in order by the year they started in the NFL, or put these films in order by the year they came out, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then whoever got that would actually get to go up and play and sit with Regis or Meredith or whoever.
Wow.
And so I said, hey, oh cool, so I get to be in the the fastest finger thing, and they said, no, we don't do that anymore. You go right up in the seat. And so I was like, oh wow. So that was awesome right there. So long story short, I won $25,000 in 2008. So I wish I had sunk all of that into Bitcoin at that moment. Well, in 2 years after that, I did not do that, obviously. But I ended up just buying a house. That was my whole down payment. So I had $25,000 in my bank account for 3 days, and then it was gone.
Wow.
And then it was gone.
That's freaking awesome.
That's my game show story.
Well, I'm so upset I didn't ask you that on the first.
Wait. I can ask you a question that stumps me.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So this would be under TV.
Oh, great.
Right. Okay. So this would be like a Red Vault question.
Okay.
This is the 25,000. On the show Hannah Montana. Miley Cyrus or Hannah Montana does not have a mom because in the show her mom is dead.
Yeah.
But there's one episode with a flashback that shows her mom.
Okay. What's her name? Who
plays her mom?
Oh shit!
I can give you the four people too.
Okay.
This was a moment in my life.
Yeah.
So number one, now I'm gonna forget. Number one, Cindy Crawford.
Dude. I need A and B and C.
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
D.
You're right.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Come on.
A, Cindy Crawford.
Yeah.
B, Brooke Shields.
Mm-hmm.
C, who's the girl from Will and Grace? The girl from Will and Grace, the redhead girl. Deborah Messing. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
C is Deborah Messing. D, Meg Ryan. A, Cindy Crawford.
Yeah.
B, Brooke Shields. C, Deborah Messing. D, Meg Ryan.
So
Miley Cyrus's mom in one episode of Hannah Montana.
That I obviously have no idea. So and I so
for
the
$25,000.
Right. I'm sweating.
Yep.
So I know the first one, Cindy Crawford, is a singer, right? So
she was a model.
Oh, there you go. So I have no idea. So I'd go A, Cindy Crawford. That's the only name I know. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
So that would have been wrong. The answer was Brooke Shields.
Okay.
I guessed it. I got it right. I screamed in adulate in pure happiness.
Yeah.
And that was it.
You got that question right.
I got that question right.
So did you use any of your phone a friends or lifelines?
I had to use everything to get to that point. And I used everything basically on that question. And of course I'm asking, I had a friend who I worked with at the time. I had to ask that question to her and she was like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
So that was, that was as far as I got. I did see the next question, which was about the Isle of Wight. If you know what body of water the Isle of Wight is. I can tell you it's near England. It's part of England.
Okay.
But now England is an island, so it's surrounded by 4 bodies of water. Which one is it? And that's the one I got wrong.
Okay.
So who cares, right? Isle of Wight was in the all the UK players know it's in the English Channel.
Right. Okay. Wow. That's a crazy life moment, isn't it? Just being in that chair. Like I feel like that could be a movie.
It was, right? Just not me. I didn't win $1 million, so it wasn't that cool. But it was
still
cool.
25,000. So so I'm the most I know about Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is when I watched it as a kid when it was extremely popular. And that's about the same time Slumdog Millionaire came out.
Yep.
So I know that the questions they start relatively easy. Right. But not really. So were your first couple of questions like super easy or like softball ones or?
Yeah, the first ones were very easy. I think the only one I got tripped up on had something to do with Starbucks in Washington because it said something about Pike Place and not Seattle, so to speak. And I just went like if I'm not 100% sure when $1,000 is on the line, I'm gonna just ask the audience that kind of thing. So that's the only one I can remember that gave me any trouble. All the other ones were kind of like Blue Vault, like cricket math kind of thing. Yeah. That was also when a timer was involved. So if
there was 30 seconds or 45 seconds, was it?
And I don't remember the exact
Okay,
time, but
yeah.
if
was in
you
there.
answered quickly, you got that chunk of time added on to the end. If you got to the $1 million, so I'm answering as fast as I can.
Right.
So to make
To have more
sure
time.
if I happen to get to the $1 million, I've got like 5 minutes. You know.
Yeah.
So
That's incredible. I'm really glad I
That's
asked you that because obviously that's a crazy life story. I'm glad
awesome.
I'm glad I've actually known someone. And it's funny that you say that because I recently watched Slumdog Millionaire. Like I'm pretty sure I watched it last week. So
all right, yeah, it's a cool movie. I encourage you and anybody that likes this trivia and is pretty good at the trivia, go apply to Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Oh yeah, no.
I can tell you, most of the people that have been on your podcast, number one, can pass the test.
Yeah.
And number two, can be like, hey guys, what's up? I'm from blah blah blah, and I like whatever. That's all you have to do, and bam, you're on the show, and maybe you're winning at least $25,000. So
and you're definitely shilling Coin Hunt World.
Oh, if I would have known about Coin Hunt World at the time, that would have been
help. It might have helped your trivia, like keeping sharp. I don't know. Were you studying at all? Sorry, I'm staying on this.
Yeah, I would just go on Wikipedia, like I actually said in your first podcast. I would just, if I get something wrong, I go down like a Wikipedia rabbit hole and I just click on this link and that link. That's what I was doing. I was just ran, because when you're preparing for that kind of show, you don't know what they're going to ask you. So
of course not. No,
they just throw everything at you.
Because I know for Jeopardy, people can study pretty well for Jeopardy because there's certain categories that they go for, and they got like a big database.
Oh, did we go away?
No, we're back. We're here.
Okay. All right, cool.
Okay. And so Jeopardy is a little easier to study for, but yeah, I guess if you're going for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you better hope that it's like that scenario. You just happen to know all the answers just from life experiences.
I mean, it helps to be good at trivia. I grew up with sitting around the dinner table was watching Jeopardy. Right. Or literally I had like the old 1984 Trivia Pursuit cards. I would just sit there and ask my parents these questions, and they would be like, well, I don't know. Every once in a while they would know one, but those were hard questions back in the day.
Yeah.
They would ask like serious like science questions and stuff like that. Yeah. So I have a lot of like knowledge just built up from that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's impressive. And you know what? It actually, that got me thinking about your stats, because we actually got a through the window kind of look at your stats for the Hawaii event, right? And I mean, we saw the total number of vaults you hit versus the total number of vaults you got correct. Right. And I mean, the difference there was pretty staggering. I think you only missed 100 vaults throughout the whole.
Through like 3,000. It was I had like a 96%. Somebody told me.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good, man.
And that's with, and I'm gonna say all of those were Hawaiian questions that I missed, because I was not really looking like on the wiki. I was just like, I'll just get these like 20 questions down, and they just kept coming, and I was like, oh crap, I don't remember that Noka Oi or the oh no or the oh my god, what's the difference between pidgin and Hawaiian? I got screwed up, but I learned. So
yes, see, that was one of those good learning moments, Yeah. And when you think you're really good, ego has a grasp on you, and you're answering these Hawaii event and you're getting them all wrong, because that certainly happened to me. I couldn't answer these for the life of me. I think I answered the who was the leader or the ruler, and I answered it right the first time, because I guessed. I was like, oh, and I didn't get that one wrong again.
Yeah, it was not the king whatever, it was somebody else.
Started with a K.
It did start with a K. I'm 100% sure. I don't remember the rest. Did you try, speaking of ego, did you try any green vaults during the event, and did Hawaii event pop up for you?
Beats. Since our first podcast, I have hit green vaults nonstop, and not one person has convinced me otherwise that it's a smart move. And I've had multiple people on the podcast publicly tell me, and in the DMs tell me, I don't like hitting green vaults because of this or this or this.
Right.
And none of it makes sense to me. I think green vaults are the way. You've shown me the light, but that being said, I did not try any Hawaii green vault questions, or did I? I don't think I did. But I was hitting green vaults throughout the entire event.
Of course, right. I was still hitting green vaults
Yeah.
and then I was kind of conditioned after a while to, oh, if Hawaii event pops up, you hit that because you're guaranteed.
Risky.
And then of course I was hitting a green. Well, no, for the blue ones, because as soon as they said they're guaranteed a resource box, I'm hitting it every time.
Right.
So as soon as I hit green vaults, though, I'm conditioned. I'm hitting Hawaii event, and it's something completely different, not giving me any much better chance.
Yeah.
I'm still going to get a resource box, but way harder that nobody has probably gotten on the wiki. So
right.
Yeah, made a mistake there.
Do you remember any of the questions there?
No, I don't remember the green vault question at all.
Okay. And you got those ones wrong then.
I got them wrong for sure.
Even the great Beats misses questions, huh?
I miss questions. I won't say all the time, but 4% of the time apparently.
There you go. Okay, and my final question before we kind of jump into what we talked about last time is how'd you get your username? So Beatsmebydre is such a unique kind of like handle that I'm surprised I didn't ask because I'm genuinely curious.
I think Blockboy asked me this on one of his old videos that he said. He was like, "What's Beatsmebydre?" And I just said like I was on Reddit forever for like 10 years, and I had a different username that somehow, some way, all of a sudden they just said like, "This username is corrupted. You cannot use this anymore." And I was like, "What?" And there was a whole thing, and some people got theirs restored and they figured it out. And I was just like, "Screw it, I'm just gonna make a new name." And I have absolutely no idea why I picked it, other than I wanted something that would just be in itself funny. Like if you just read that name, you'd be like, huh, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's all it was.
Yeah. And it is like that.
Yeah, that's it. Like, oh wait, Beatsmebydre.
Yeah.
But that's it. But it came out with, what I love is that it just came out to Beats for people, and I didn't think of that at all. I've never made the name thinking that people were going to call me that. So, but I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've heard people call you Beats by Dre, like the actual headphone. So
those
I'm
people
like,
are wrong.
Yeah.
Apparently somebody sent me there's like an AJR song that specifically mentions Beats by Dre, and so of course if you play Coin Hunt World a lot, you're going to associate my name with that. So I guess that was funny when I heard that, but
for sure,
nobody outside of the couple of thousand people playing are going to associate that.
Yeah. That's true. So okay, let's get into. I have just the category listed last time we talked. So this one was for the first podcast, not the one with Zach and Beats, because we were just kind of talking about Coin Hunt World. This one's gonna kind of delve a little bit into a recap, I guess you could say, of the past year, but kind of how we've grown. So
we've grown so much.
Yes, we have, and you have on the leaderboards, haven't you? The last time we talked, you were 8th all time.
I was.
And what are you now?
I'll look. I thought it was actually. I should have this up, right?
I hope not 5th, right?
I don't know. Wait, all time, right? We're talking
all time, global.
Right now I'm 4th. I'm right behind Zach, sandwiched between Zach and Rubik's. So he got, and of course, last month Makiki Tiki did the double purple with getting the no, he wasn't the one, right? He did not get the referral purple. Referral because he had to forge up his 10,000 keys.
Right.
So yeah, he did it. He did it either way. So.
And he's now above you, right? He's second.
He's second behind Block Boy.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Man,
so
nobody's knocking Block Boy off that top spot.
He's hanging in there, right? I haven't seen him too much on like regular monthly leaderboards, but he's obviously doing something. He's not falling that far behind, and he was so far ahead of everybody. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think there's any catching him as long as he still plays the game. Period.
And especially if there's if there's no more cranes too. Good luck.
Yeah. Well, and I just saw Philippines dropped some cranes, so that's something.
That's very true. I wonder how long that'll take for those to get filled.
Somebody has to fill all of them themselves, and then they'll be at Block Boy level.
I mean, that's got to be tricky, right? I mean, I don't know what it was like first starting the game, and then I mean, if we go back to our first conversation, you were talking about dropping 200,000 resin into a crane, and that moving you a ton of spots, and that being a lot. And I remember thinking, wow, that is a lot. I mean, now that's not even a lot now,
Not a lot at all.
But if you're thinking about in the mind of a Philippines hunter, 200,000 resin has got to be a huge chunk, right? So
especially local or country, for sure. You're at the top.
Yeah, that's going to take a long time though for them to even get one crane going. But it's funny when they do. That's an extra $10 USD. That'll really help them for sure, especially if they're still doing buddy quests.
Yeah, absolutely. They're getting 5 greens for every buddy quest, and
what? Not a yellow?
No, in the White Vault countries, you get 5 greens, I believe.
Interesting. Very interesting. I didn't know that. I was that's
Correct
another
me
one.
if I'm wrong. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what I was told.
Here's another one of those. Here's another one of those things that has changed over the years or the past year. Is my attention to detail in the Discord.
Oh yeah, I mean I can't get away from it even though I want to.
I know, and I'm very shocked that you've stayed on top of it for as long as you have, because I was originally doing that. I just couldn't. And there was so much information coming at me, so now I'm kind of just sticking to the big ticket items and discussing those. But yeah, even like those small little things changing the Discord, I've not been keeping up as much as I want to, at least lately.
It doesn't take as much time as you would think if you just check in here and there and kind of scroll and just kind of speed read. And if you really lose if you lose like 8 hours of it, you just search for Illusion Weaver or Cuckoo Puffs if they've talked in the last 8 hours. So I just happened to see right before we were talking that somebody had said, hey, there's juicy stuff in the UK chat. And then I went in there, and it took me 5-10 minutes to get caught up.
Right. And that's also another one of those things where you can keep up to date on the Discord if you're sticking in the Hunter's Lodge and then Hunter's channel, Hunter's chat, whatever it
Hunter's
is.
Hangout.
Oh, fuck. There we go.
You're really out of it.
Dude, I'm not in there. No, I'm in there. Or like the off top, like even those 2 big or 3 big categories. But then once you start trying to keep up to date on, the different countries, I mean, especially the UK channel, that thing's a mess.
I just wait until somebody says, "Oh, go
check
to
it
UK
out."
channel."
Yeah. That's when you know something's good's going on.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens, and that's what I just found today. So I'm sure we'll get to that.
Well, why don't we talk about it now? I'm not really so I don't know what really happened, but in the UK channel today, Cuckoo Puffs, kind of addressed them, talking about potentially having to pull out of the UK. Potentially. I don't really know. I think you might know a little bit more than me, but I think it's just so new. So why don't you run me through it, I guess? I don't know.
So the couple of sentences that I saw from Cuckoo Puffs was just that there's enough bad reviews on Google Play that it's making it detrimental to keep it going in the UK. That even though there's some people having a great experience and having fun with it, there's enough people that are saying, hey, this isn't paying out. This is whatever they're attaching to the idea that it's not paying out. And making it 1 star. So they're bringing down those reviews, and it just makes the game look bad. So it sounds like they need to get those exchanges in order before they really roll out these games.
I guess so. See, I'm not even on that boat. I'm on the boat of, the game is pretty fun, and I'm more in the boat of, you can start stocking it now and just have faith that it'll come through. Now, I'm not sure if the laws are a little bit different when it comes to, crypto regulations or whatever that is. So I'm not familiar at all with what that's like over in the UK. Yeah.
Me neither.
So, I don't expect you to be an expert.
Not a UK crypto lawyer.
There you go.
No idea.
And so we don't really know what's going to happen, but I have faith in titanium toaster. And I mean, it is a little slightly hypocritical for me to say, because when I started playing, I could unlock my uphold right away, right? I could have that could have been the first thing I did, but it wasn't. I put up my user votes first, but like a true OG.
Sure.
Yeah. And but I had the opportunity to just take all the money out whenever I wanted. Now you, on the other hand, that didn't, right? You when you started playing, there was no upholds directly, right? No withdraws.
I played for about 2 months without the uphold.
Right.
So it didn't. it didn't matter too much to me because that was still at the time when I was still trying to figure out, like, is this game even anything? Like, do I even want to walk down that hill to get that vault? Because who knows if it's even real, that kind of thing. So
exactly,
it wasn't that big of a thing to me at the time. But you're right. Like, definitely have faith. The problem is if you already are skeptical of crypto, you're already skeptical of mobile games, you're already skeptical of this exchange that they're telling you that you've never heard of before. So of course there's going to be some people that are just like, this is stupid, this is a scam, whatever. So I think that's what it's a bad look. They want to avoid that look, even though there are people that are hanging in there, just like you were saying, like everybody that was doing it back in the US and Canada before. But I don't know like we said, we don't know what those laws are, what's holding it up. So
it's definitely in development. So I guess you'll probably hear it. Like if you keep in touch in the Discord, you'll hear about, what happened over there?
This is what, see,
nice.
That's
kind of rock star. I mean, that development going on. I'm not too sure. I hope that doesn't happen for their sakes. I imagine that the people in the Discord, it's not the people in the Discord who are the problem. It can't be, right? Because those are the people playing. It must be the people who are doing the negative reviews on the Google Play Store. Or outside of the game. I feel like the Discord community wouldn't. I don't know. Was the Discord community the people complaining?
I mean, obviously, I know that the UK channel was known as like the kind of like the bad kids. Like they were always causing mischief and saying stuff they shouldn't or whatever. And Squeamy's in there like laying down hammers and maybe not banning people, but like slapping people with rulers and stuff. So I don't think that's what caused it though, because I think they welcome that. They want those people in the Discord saying what's good or what's not. I mean, I obviously you can beat a dead horse and say like, oh, we want these withdrawals. All right, we're working on it. Like it's not like I can just snap my fingers and make it happen. So I don't think it's because of the Discord people though.
It's a tough problem, right? I don't envy Cuckoo Puffs having to deal with that problem because wouldn't know. At the same time, I want everybody to be able to pull the money out because that's kind of why they're playing the game. But also at the same time, I want the game to expand and move into different countries. Right. So you got to find that happy medium, and I don't know where it's at. So, and this is like the first of that I've ever heard of problems when it comes to the payment method. So,
at least they did say that he said if nothing else, they would do a one-time payout for everything that's happened. So I mean, if nothing else, that's the good faith of like you didn't do all this for nothing. So,
right.
I think that shows right there. It's not a scam. There's nothing nefarious going on. It's simply that the regulations of whatever happens there just aren't cooperating.
Exactly. The one-time payment is probably a good way to weed out those players as well. It's like kind of take your payment and then if you want to keep playing and then we'll figure it out down the road, then keep playing. And if you don't want to, then stop playing because then or stop complaining. You can't have it both ways. You can't complain and play.
I think some people can thread that needle pretty well, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I complain every now and then, whatever.
As long as it benefits the game, as long as it's not critical, you're not hurting people's feelings. If it's critical towards the game, then I feel like everybody's opinion is valued, especially players who are up there playing the game every day for hours at a time. Their voice should definitely be heard. So, and that's a lot of the UK guys.
And I think too the people that would be playing the game all the time if X, Y, or Z was changed, like that's valid too. It's hard to weed those things out though. Like who would really, benefit from X, Y, and Z? Obviously there's people that say like, something that should benefit me directly. Those don't matter as much. But anything that, is kind of like hey, this would be better for the overall gaming experience. Those are always valid.
Very valid. And those are the best topics of discussion too. So the more you bring those up, the happier I am.
How close are you to 69 guests?
Dude, I'm real close. So I know you were wondering that. So this is going to be the 49th episode. And
you had at least 2 that were just you with no guests.
2 were just me with no guests. And then I've had I've done one with Mintopoly, Farmland, and Metaguardian, so that's 3 extra.
And
then
Label or somebody like that.
That was Mintopoly.
That
Sorry.
was okay, yes.
With Mintopoly, so 5 episodes out of that.
Okay.
So I'm at approximately 45 episodes, and he wants on at 69. So
gotta wait 20 more weeks for this. All right, fine, whatever.
Or I start pumping them out hardcore. Just two a
double
week.
Guesting.
Double guesting. Okay, you know what? I was gonna save this till the end, but since you brought that up, I want to know what question you would have for Illusion Weaver if you had the opportunity to ask him.
Oh man, what?
That's a tough one, isn't it? Because I've been trying to gather this kind of information because it's happening. It's happening soon. So I want to have good questions for him. You know.
My biggest thing is the QBs. Like, what are QBs gonna do? What are they good for?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it's getting old to try to guess at everything that's going to happen, but I'd really like to eventually have a roadmap of this is what you should start doing with your resources, because nobody knows. And yes, it's a game of choices, but I'd love to have more choices that are about creating the QBs or where to put them, or why I should sell them or why I should not sell them. So
should I have multiples? Should I not?
Yes. Yeah. That's what we're doing all with the tikis right now. Like there's some people that are saying, oh, I got an extra Metalla, I'll sell it. And I'm like, don't sell it anything right now.
You don't think you should be selling those rare tikis?
I don't think you should sell anything right now besides paint or resin if you really feel like it.
So I have a Beats quote from the first.
Oh no.
From the first podcast. This one's a good. Actually, it's 2 because it was back to back. Like I was like, I had to rewind. I was like, did he seriously just say that? And then like the next sentence, you like punched it home.
I listened to it. I talked a lot, so I was. Man,
okay,
I was not on drugs or anything, I swear.
The quote that I love is you said quote. This is a Beatsmebydre quote. I don't know why anyone buys resin. I'm never gonna buy resin with keys. It's a good one, isn't it? Is that still true?
It is. So it's not true, but it's barely not true.
Okay. Oh, you stuck to your word, kind of. Okay.
I actually mentioned on one of the last podcasts with Zach that one of the first things I remember buying, because it was a big buy, was 100,000 resin for 700 keys. Yeah. So now that would be a key transfer, right? That's what? Yeah. Who buys that?
Yeah.
So
I remember you saying that.
That's what I did, and that was when cranes were around. So of course that was a good buy at the time. So what I was thinking at that time was, okay, 100,000 resin basically equals a red key at that time.
Right.
So as long as you spend less than a red key,
decent,
basically getting more leaderboard points.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think it was justified at that period of time too, because if you dumped, say 100,000 resin was a red key, which is what you were kind of equivalent, right? If you dumped 2.5 red keys worth, you would be put at number 1 for the month there for 250,000 resin at the time. That would put you, at least in the top 5. Like that was a hefty dump. Maybe not. I don't know. But the point is there. The point is there is that at the end of that month, when you're getting the rewards back with the keys, you were spending half of what you were getting back, but it was well worth it because you still get extra keys on with the what were they, the leaderboard returns. I don't know people
at that time. I think you actually still got crypto for your leaderboard, so that was what made it totally worth it to me. So even if you got like the 4, instead of 4 yellow keys, you got like 4 yellow boxes.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll go spend whatever resin to get $40 at the end of the month. So that's what made it worth it to me.
Definitely. So I was listening to what's that? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And I bought resin a couple other little times where it was like super cheap, where it was like dirt cheap. Understandable. But I do not flip anything. I do not flip resin, or I always buy it because I'm going to use it.
Yeah. Okay. Have you don't flip anything, do you? Is that just because it's a waste of time?
I'm just not business minded. I kind of feel like always. I don't want to get into the politics of it, but I don't like buying something just to sell it to somebody else for more money. That feels like stealing.
That's capitalism, friend.
That's stealing to my mind.
What are you, a communist?
That's stealing from the person who could have had it at that cheaper rate. That's
an ethical dilemma that I'm not going to get into right now.
That's why I didn't want to bring it up at all.
There you go.
I have a very extreme view. I know no one will agree with it because you're all crypto guys. So
I know
plenty.
No, I know plenty of people who agree with you. I know plenty of people who are very, very close to me who have tried to swing me on the fact that, rent, and have swung me on the fact that, buying a house to rent it to someone is just the worst type of person you could be. and it's kind of the same deal, right? You're buying something because other people can't afford it, and then profiting off of that. So I get it, and I get it more in the real world than in coin hunt world.
Fair enough. It's keys between friends, right? Whatever.
There you go. All right, sorry. Let me jump back in. So you were 8th all time, so you moved up the leaderboards all time. And during the podcast, you had said a few times that you weren't close to a purple. At this point, about a year ago, purples were very scarce. Like, people didn't have those big, large key stacks, right? And that you were proof of that. But have you forged a purple since we've last talked? So okay, you have.
I am always as soon as I have a couple of yellows, I'm like, oh, that looks good. Especially as soon as I won those 6 reds, obviously I bought that Fire Dragon blueprint, so that was all those reds. But yeah, I keep finding something that I like, and you know what? I'm just gonna go back on everything I just said, because I bought a bunch of air blueprints and way back in the day, and I'm like, yeah, of course I'm gonna sell these later on.
Right. But you haven't, so.
Here and there, I have, but it's like months later. But here's my point: I'm giving them to people who could not have gotten them otherwise.
Good. That is.
There. I feel my soul is cleansed, Trent.
I have 4 of those and 10 air QBs still.
Yes, there you go. And I remember you saying the air QB was the cleanest, and you loved it.
That still holds up today. So we've had air QB gang,
Yes.
And
there's no water QB, there's no earth QB gang, there's certainly no fire QB gang. It's air QB gang.
And we spoke at that time about, we were kind of speculating on. We were kind of speculating on how hard it might have been to get the fire elemental. That held up. That withstood the test of time there, because it was indeed very difficult.
Even if you got the blueprint, my God, those fire crystals are still a hot item. They're right up there. I mean, maybe right up there with scales.
They might be. Yeah, I'd say that's those 2 are the most expensive epic resources. Maybe witch's hats. I'm trying to think of, but
you know what's tricky though is I don't know if I brought this up before, but is that fire crystals come out of tickler boxes.
That's true.
Which keeps making them less and less rare.
Okay.
So air crystals dropped during the Chinese New Year event. Water and earth have never dropped since then. So fire crystals, especially they're dropping in 500s. I feel like it's getting pretty. I don't want to say diluted, but maybe was the ratio off before, and that's why they're giving out so many in the ticklers. I don't know.
Here, you can answer this question probably pretty easily. You've completed every quest chain since we've last talked, right?
Yes.
That means you've gotten the tickler box every single time. How many fire crystals did you get?
I definitely got 500 in the last one. And
okay.
I think I must have gotten 500 in the one before that, I have that sounds about right. Okay. I have 1,000 more than I did. So I have 1,650 if you want to know. 1,650 fire.
So are you looking to maybe scoop up some more fire crystals to print another fire QB?
Game of choices, right? Like, do I buy more fire crystals and print off one of those bad boys, or because I only have 2 fire hearts too? So do I do that?
Those are a little easier to get, though. I feel.
Are they? I feel like I don't want to buy.
You don't want to play with that.
I really don't. See, again, I would love to know what these QBs do, because it matters a lot what I do here. So it's all speculation, right? Everything is, do I buy all these resources and wait on them, or do I print all these QBs and wait on them? So right now, like I've said before, the irreversible decisions, I've tried to just never print much of anything,
right,
and just have it just in case. Like, even I have a bunch of like earth crystals, and I just haven't made more earth guys because I'm like, what if earth crystals or something? I don't know. So I have them.
That's fair, especially if you're not going to sell those the Earth QBs, right? I mean, those right now are kind of expensive, so that could be on your shopping list soon. But
I mean, I got plenty of Earth crystals. I mean, Earth guys. So I'm waiting until they grow trees, resin trees, or they I don't know, whatever they do.
That'd be a good one. That'd be a great little added benefit there. So on the last podcast, also, so about, I don't know, I want to say 8 months ago. No, 9. Maybe 10 months ago, because I think it might have been 10 months ago. Anyways,
I'm having a lot of fun, by the way.
Yeah, me too. Thanks. Cheers, man. I got my Ace Hill Pilsner. It's a craft beer right out of Toronto.
It looks like White Claw.
It doesn't taste like it.
Okay, I've never tasted that, so I don't know. But okay.
Cheers. Yeah.
I got my classic rum and Coke here.
And I love that. So last podcast, they had announced that there was 40,000 downloads.
Wow. Yeah.
We were like, we were going crazy. Well, we knew that about 10,000 of those had been from the test flight, right? And then 30,000, we guessed about 30,000 from Android. So, now I don't even know the real number now. It's got to be over 100,000 downloads, right? That's what they said.
At least 100 from the last time they said it.
That's growth. That's pretty good growth. So it went for the first year, it was 40,000. And then the second year, more than 60,000.
And it's not even a year later.
That's true.
Yeah. It's 6-8 months later. So that's over doubled. So, hey.
I like that. I like that growth. We got to figure out the iOS situation, though. If that ever happens.
Beats me, man. That would be fantastic. I just kind of always just fall back on that. They say, look, it's a global game, and most of the globe does not have iPhone. So as much as they can to just put, because of course we in the North America are like, no, come on, all my friends have iPhones.
All my friends have iPhones.
Right, of course. So it's a personal thing to be like, no, I want to get all my friends to refer. But in here it is in the health of the game. If they can get a bunch of people in, let's say, Mongolia or Colombia or whatever, that nobody has iPhones, they all have Androids, then just as good, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. And where no one has iPhones.
Right.
Yeah. So great growth so far. And I know we talked a little bit, but the Elemental Invasion had just been announced. So at that point, we were like speculating on. Well, we had seen the 4 QBs, which we had talked about, and that event has held up since. And that one didn't have a quest chain, just had your basic RNG drops, and it was by like one of the best events still to this day, without a quest chain.
Love the cauldrons.
Yeah.
I mean, the monoliths.
Yeah, the monoliths, because that was the first time we had saw any type of, I don't know, something new,
building,
right? It was something new.
A new structure that pops up that you create. That was cool.
We were pumped about that. And
I really love that threw you off of your normal thing. Like you I got to turn around. I got to go this way instead of that way. That kind of thing. That.
It was good for exploration purposes. I remember having to go to vaults that I've never hit before and getting myself into some tricky situations.
Oh, really?
I early morning bike ride, and I spawned it, and it was like an air monolith, and it was over this bridge that I don't go over, especially towards the way it was. So I ended up just going for the exploration of it. Obviously I didn't need any more air hearts at the time, but it was just a fun little to go. And it was behind this retirement home. So I figured, no one would be, upset if I just walked around the corner and got this thing. So I parked my bike. I even, did the kickstand, walked over. I didn't want to be rude. And this guy was right around the corner waiting for me. I was like, and I pulled the I can't hear you, blah, blah, blah. I just got to get in range.
Yeah.
And eventually he's like, hey, you can't come back here anymore, man. I was like, okay, yeah, sorry. I kind of explained I was playing a game. didn't refer him. He did not seem like he wanted to. He did not want to discuss any further.
He did not want to be your friend.
No, he didn't. He wanted me to get out of there.
Wow.
But yeah. So yeah, you're right. The exploration part was awesome. I wish that I trying to remember back. I feel like the monoliths weren't there for long enough, and they were sometimes really far away.
Yeah, for those of you that were walking and trying to do everything on foot, because you're right. Because absolutely, it would have been ridiculous to turn around and go a mile back. That kind of thing. Wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, that's true. I keep forgetting that. We definitely played the game a lot differently at the time. And now I feel like we play the game kind of similarly.
It's a lot of walking now. So yeah,
ton of walking.
The game has changed immensely. And so the thing that hasn't changed is if you have a lot of keys during an event, you're just going to hit as many vaults as you can. The difference now is, at least what happened for me, I think what was planned to happen was, hey, now that you cannot just go get a bunch of keys, you have to ration them out from now on. So I am hitting vaults because we're in a dip, and I'm like, dude, I'm not my blue key stack is not moving. It just keeps staying at like 400 something and not going anywhere. Well, I'm not going to feel comfortable in an event unless I have a couple thousand. So
or 1,000. At least 1,000. You're not comfortable with 1,000.
I want like 2,000 or 3,000.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm never going to get there again. Right. Never. I'm going to keep hitting I can't not hit these vaults.
Especially, you're right, with these dip prices, like, because we've been through this before.
Yeah.
We've gotten 50,000 Gwei before. And you know what? It's funny because the last time it happened, I didn't even take advantage. I was like, like it bounces back too quickly or whatever, all the excuses I gave myself. And then now, looking back, I would even have podcasts with people. I'd be like, back in my day, we had 50,000 Gwei. And if that time ever came back around, I'd be hitting all these vaults. And, I am, because the dips are more important to me, I think.
I'm the same way. I love the resources. I get the idea that you can flip the flowers or the whatever it is and turn them into keys, but they don't turn into blue keys. So
that's true.
You have to stack some blue keys if you're going to do more future events. Yeah. I don't know that I'm going to be an event person if these dips stay this way. So it's tough. The true game of choices at this point.
Yeah, I know the events are just so much fun, but hitting the dip is so much fun too. I don't know. That might be the hardest choice.
Yes. And I love the events. I can't wait for the USA thing to come back because I love getting the footballs and the cowboy hats.
Yep. That's exciting. And so and this is the final thing that I have for the last time we talked, but we'll go into about the year in review. But this one was about the legendary QB. So it had just been announced that the legendary QB was going to be up on the auction house for 2 purple keys.
Yep.
And at the time, I think we were under the impression that, we kind of knew that 3 players maybe had a purple key.
Right. At least.
And then that was it. Right. So, at the time, a purple key felt so unattainable.
Right.
And, in hindsight now, we know that the legendary went for 5 purple keys. It's just been a crazy kind of turn of events for, the amount of keys that are in the game.
I remember my quote from when we talked about this was, I hope to get a DM saying what it is. Like, I hope somebody tells me what the legendary is. So my thing now is, I'm going to call this now. I don't think we're ever going to know what the second legendary is. I don't think the person who wins it is going to tell us. I don't think they're going to tell us what the resources are. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're going to know a thing about the next one, except maybe what it looks like. And that's it.
Yeah, because the last time it was announced, there was this quote from Illusion Weaver saying, we won't know what the what was it, the passive effect is, or even what it is, unless the person who wins it tells us what it is, right?
Or the name of it, or
exactly
what it costs, or anything.
Luckily, we had Zach who scooped it and was all for it, all part of the community. I think that even if Block Boy won, we would have known, similar in similar ways. But yeah,
right.
you're right. I feel like there's now more contention. Like there's people with lots and lots of keys now, not just Block Boy and Zach or Squeamy, but I'm betting there's a few other under the radar players who have the type of keys that can bid on a second legendary. I would be upset if we didn't hear what it was for the second one.
I mean, maybe we might hear later on, but I'm thinking whoever it is obviously going to be taking notes from what happened with Zach, that obviously telling people what you needed was not helpful.
It made it expensive.
Yeah. So it was an amazing experience for the community. It was like a big, cool thing. Hey, we all get to see it. But it didn't benefit him, obviously. So it's going to be in the next person's best interest to at least hold off until they get that thing printed.
The resources. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. But until they get the resources for it. Yeah.
And then, so the flip side is, don't we kind of already know what those resources are? Because
right.
They already kind of alluded to what the pattern is going to be. So,
right.
And it might not do that. I was actually thinking, wouldn't it be crazy if they made it the same exact resources?
How savage would that be?
Ridiculous, right?
Man, that would put the price of dragon skills through the roof. Oh my god! Go ahead and do it.
Buy one ever again.
I'm sitting on 300 dragon scales. Go ahead.
But I'm thinking, no, it may be like a turtle shells, cinnamon sticks.
Cinnamon sticks for sure. I was thinking as well,
because so many.
There's too many out there, and they might even be able to do like 200 of them instead of just because I know they did 100 of the beach cocktails, right?
Okay.
And that was a little bit tricky.
I'm thinking 100 turtle shells.
100 turtle shells. That even still might be a little bit easy, but
okay. I
don't know. I have 7 of them. That's the only reason I say that. It might be a little bit easy.
They were all you dropped them all from vaults?
No, I got 5 out of my tickler out of the Hawaii event. So I had 2 left over. Yeah.
So 100 wouldn't be crazy, I don't think.
You're right, but I think that they're gonna one up themselves. They have to. They make it. They make. I'd say they make every. No, that's not true. I was gonna say that they make every event or like they make it extremely hard, and I feel like harder from the last, but that might not necessarily be true with this Hawaii event. I feel like for high level players, it was probably pretty easy. Comparatively to the RNG effect, right?
Comparatively, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a subjective thing when you have the RNG, because some people drop it in the first day, and some people take the entire 5,000 vaults to get it. So the RNG plays a big factor. At least with this one, the only RNG that played in seemed to be turtle shells.
Turtle shells, yeah. And that ruined a few people.
Yeah, so it became a very personal experience, I think, for some people. Like, I didn't get turtle shells.
Did you?
That's brutal. But I mean, I did.
Okay, you did. Yeah.
The person who would have been saying that would have been like, oh, everybody's dropping turtle shells except me. I got the blueprint and everything, and didn't get the turtle shells. So it kind of feels like a slap in the face.
That would be a pain. So did you get turtle shells quickly? Because I got like 2 on my first day. I was like, oh.
No, it took me a while.
Oh, okay.
I was dropping them very slowly. I was doing obviously I hunted a lot. I was on that 3,000 whatever.
Yes, sir.
And it took me most of the time to get to that 4th and 5th one. And then of course I dropped 10 in my tickler. So I got tons of them.
You got 2. Oh no.
I got like 13 total now.
That's rough. Whatever.
I hope it's a legendary ingredient. That's all I can say.
Oh, if the legendary comes out and you can go for it, I'll be rooting for you.
No way, it won't be me at all.
Again, this year.
Yes, again, absolutely nowhere near a purple key. Again, apparently you have to sell everything you have to get this legendary, and I'm not doing that. And
you probably should have been doing it a while ago
already. Yes,
right, because
absolutely.
if you start doing now it might be okay because of I'd say it's very evident that there's a slight key inflation. Things are more expensive generally now because there's more keys in the game, which only makes sense. But
sure,
I think that you got to be selling big ticket item. Like if we start seeing big ticket items on the auction house, we're gonna know someone's making a move for the legendary. They must, right? Because there's no other reason to be selling the extremely rare items, right?
Well, that's what puts Squeamy on the target list, is that he's been selling
Exactly.
all those big
All of
things
this, yeah.
slow over time, right?
Exactly,
Like he's
yeah.
trying to make it slick, but it's not slick.
He's not slick.
Those of us that are there every day have like a microscope on that, so you're not fooling anybody.
Man, there's people who play this game who just use the auction. Well, I mean, specifically will just play on the auction house. Doesn't he? Yeah, they don't even play, like they don't go coin hunting. Coin hunt world for them is the auction house, which is kudos to them. But I'm still, from our first podcast episode, I said I haven't been really messing around with the auction house, and that's still been the case. I'll sell some things here and there. Rarely buy things, like only if they're great deals. But yeah, the auction house hasn't been one of those things that I've utilized very frequently throughout the past year, at least since
always
it came
losing keys. Yep, I like a sure thing, right? So it like green paint right now. I'll sell green paint because it's the first time ever I can get like one key for 100 green paint or something like that.
Yeah,
so, awesome, great.
Yeah.
I'll do that. But yeah, everything else that I seem to do, either I'm just like, screw it, I just want the thing, I'll spend whatever. But I lose money every time.
Yeah, when we did the first podcast, the auction house was actually only 4 days old. So we didn't know really what we were talking about. But when we first
to go back to those days,
it's crazy. And when it first came out, each auction was 7 days long.
I would have bought so many blueprints. Oh my God.
I know. Going back, like if you knew what the prices of blueprints, and in the first episode you said that the prices of blueprints were too high.
Yes, I did. How dumb was that?
that was one of the only things that didn't age very well. But I wish we did, because we didn't say specifically what the price was. I was like, what was it? Like what are you actually talking about?
So I can remember like maybe like because I don't have it, a Valentine's blueprint going for like 300 and being like, that's crazy. Those things are so, and now it's like 3,000.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's
totally.
I didn't remember a Valentine's Day going for 300, but that makes sense for you going. They're too expensive, and then looking back now, like we done goofed.
I would have spent every key I had in the beginning of the auction house.
Yep, for sure. And so actually, if the auctions themselves were 7 days when they came out. Right? Yeah. Which was absurd, but we didn't really understand why it was absurd at the time. But if you placed a bid on an item with 7 or 6 days left, well, getting to the point, there was still the 3 clock system. But if you bid on something 5 or 6 or 7 days left, you wouldn't get your keys back until someone else bid on the item, or you won that item. So all your keys are getting tied up if you're bidding for multiple things.
Sure.
In one day. So you could almost like starve yourself with no keys for 7 days, and then you'd not even win an auction.
And I thought of it as like, hey, it's 7 days because they want to make sure that like, I don't know, like you have enough time to think about it and what do I want to do? And I don't know. I think I thought of it as a long-term thing. And obviously
it felt okay, right? The 7 days felt okay for the first day. We're like, yeah, this can work.
And then people started putting their keys in and being like, wait.
Yeah.
So yes, overwhelming consensus that 3 days is better, and 3 days seems to work just fine.
3 days is great now. And then, but at the time, which was crazy because 3 days works so great now, is because we have that 3 clock system, right? At three clocks is 3 days, makes sense. But at the time, it was for 3 clocks, it was between 4 and 7 days, and then 2 clocks was 2 and 3 days, and then 1 clock was like 24 hours. Extremely hard to follow.
That was convoluted for sure.
Yeah. Well, the auction house was absolutely nuts.
But to their credit, it bounced right back, and
they fixed
it.
Totally. And we another funny point that I thought was interesting that we talked about was we talked about the auction house being anonymous. So I asked really, what your thoughts were on the auction house being anonymous, and you said it was a good thing. Do you still agree with that statement?
Of course, and I think that's where the whole key transfer thing that is now just recently taken place, that's where they've really put their foot down and said it needs to be anonymous, or at least not be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And we can get into the whole key transfer blatancy thing or not, but it doesn't make any sense to me to go after every little thing. You're looking for the one resin for 500 keys kind of thing.
Yeah. And I said that on my last podcast, I think with Loop D. And it was a lot of that whole podcast. I made a joke about it. It was a lot of just agreeing with whatever you were saying.
Yeah.
Well, what you were saying was making sense to me. You made the argument that that I had originally, sided with that being the case. Like it's not these 75 or 73 key transfers that anybody's worried about. Nobody cares. Go ahead and do that and ruin yourself, like, right. But it is that one resin for 500 keys, the whatever kicked this off. I'm pretty sure it might have been purple paint. It was a purple key transfer.
A purple key transfer while there was a purple vault on the map. So,
like the balls.
Right. So like you're literally giving $1,000 or the chance for $1,000 to somebody. So that's a big difference than, let's buy a purple QB for 660 keys or whatever.
Exactly. That's a huge deal.
And I know that the thing that we had brought up was that Zach and I brought up was the purple QB thing. And now I'm like, but look at when you start the game now. When you very first start the game, they say, hey, you need a yellow QB, you need a green QB to advance. You need a yellow QB to advance. You need a red QB to advance. So who am I to say, well, I want a purple QB because I know what's coming next. So of course I'm going to spend, I'll spend 200 keys on it. I don't know. Like I'm just getting handed keys.
Purple QB was a bad example. I think in retrospect, it was a bad example because that one was actually being speculated on. And because at the time, they had just said, you're going to need a purple QB for level 5 of our HQ. We're going to need a purple QB and 100K resin. I don't really believe that any of us need a purple QB. It's probably not true, but I know plenty of people who have played this game. And, if I start listing names of high level players who had said in the Discord before, they didn't get their purple QB blueprint for months after playing, right? Maybe you want to spend, for someone. And also 70 keys now is not a lot. You can get that in one day from walking.
Yep.
So, that's under a yellow. And now you're like, that's nothing. So,
and you could just drop a 50 one time and be like, I remember the first time that I dropped a yellow out of a green vault. I was just like, oh, that's cool. I didn't even understand what that meant. And so like anybody who's just dropping a 50 out of a mystery box, be like, oh, cool. I'll go buy that purple QB. Like, they don't know.
Exactly. That's awesome. And then, the last thing I have about the auction house here was at the time we were talking, there was actually some Discord drama. So there was these complainers in the Discord complaining about the listing fee. And I thought it was funny because you basically told them to kick rocks. And you're like, no.
I did. And then I said, hey, at the time, maybe it was difficult to get 10 keys because I witnessed people that were like, there's 10 keys. There's 5 keys in my whole town. Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
But yeah,
so that
now kick rocks.
Yeah, that withstood the test of time.
Now I just got 2 green keys in my last mystery box. So, dude.
Wow, there you go. I actually got 50 twice since my last podcast.
Ooh, nice. Since your last podcast. Nice.
Yeah. So that would have been on Saturday, or what did I do with Loop D? Friday? I think it was Friday. So less than a week, I got 20. I got 2 50 keys, which was really nice. So, my stock didn't really dwindle during the Hawaii event because I was hitting the same amount of vaults I was getting keys back, basically.
Okay.
So I'm sitting at 1,750 keys now, or blue keys. So I feel very comfortable. I feel very comfortable in that spot. I don't know why, because I feel like with that amount of keys, I should be in the auction house, but I'm just not. I'm just not in there.
It's so hard. I mean, unless you know what is cheap and what will be. That's the hard part. Is okay, something's cheap. How do you know it's going to be more expensive later? Apparently, some people just have that magic that they just know. I can never tell. I don't know. The green paint is the only thing I've really jumped on, just because it's the first time it's ever happened that is useful.
Yeah, and you probably have a lot of extra.
I had a lot of extra, so I'm selling it. I just actually sold most of the last of what I had.
Okay. How you doing on your Tiki Warriors? Did you got them all, right?
I got them all times
Okay.
2.
Oh, what?
I got them all
Wow.
times 2.
That's pretty
And
good. That's pretty impressive.
plenty more than that too.
Mhm.
But the important ones, the 3 epics, I've got 2 of each of those now. So I'm
Right on.
prepared to throw one of each in a volcano and hold
What
on
if-
to the rest, whatever.
What if the volcano's only in Hawaii?
I'll get there one day.
Okay. Okay, fair enough. That's a good outlook.
I will do that for this game. I will go to
Right.
Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got the uphold balance, I bet. At least for now. And
That
waiting for-
I think of as my sons.
yeah, waiting for a purple vault might have been the play, but
Well, I mean, I had right. Wait until
Mhm.
next May. Like prepare for next May, maybe.
and that's very viable.
Yeah. But watch them
Anyways.
not do it next time.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You never know what they're gonna do, right? Because there's nothing in advance to warn. And like,
yeah.
it's funny how they want players to like do that travel, or they incentivize the players to do that travel, but there's no heads
Quickly.
up.
Do it right now.
But it's for
Book a flight to
24
Hawaii
hours.
right now.
Yeah, that's so easy, man. It's so easy just to pack up and go to Hawaii.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not me. So it's a young richer man's game. You are blurry.
I am, and I'm upset because
There you go.
Just,
You're back.
I just spent my Hawaii event earnings on this brand new webcam, so I'm a little
Ooh,
upset that it got a
nice.
little blurry there, but
I thought you were coming in crystal clear there.
nice. I'm glad. I hope people can see the difference.
Your apartment also looks like you're in I'll say Hamilton.
Don't be fooled. Do
No,
not
it's
be
not.
fooled.
No. It looks very Canadian where you are.
Well, thank you. Let me quickly, for the viewers and for everybody else, let's bring a reality check back in.
Ooh, you have the kiss.
Oh,
in
I
Belgium.
do. The clipped.
Do
So-
you know what museum it's in? I answered that wrong 5 times.
I don't know. I don't
The
know.
Belvedere.
Very interesting. Very interesting. I just did the immersive exhibit for the Klimt immersive exhibit. So I guess
Ooh,
it's
that sounds cool.
it's pretty cool. So it's like basically a room, and they projector all of his art into like a cool visual show. It was about an hour long. So it was pretty decent. I didn't know who Klimt was before I went.
Okay.
But you know, Loopty actually also knew this poster, so I guess it's pretty famous.
It's very famous.
Okay, it's very famous.
It
Okay.
is.
See, that's about the extent of my art trivia skills. So
Hey, you have it on your wall, so you should get that one right.
that's the only thing on my wall.
It's all good.
I'm trying to like create like a studio vibe before I get rid of this background, you know, so I want to get like
Yeah.
some cool things on the wall and maybe some neon lights. That'd be pretty damn epic, I think. But
Yeah.
before that happens, we're gonna stick with the cool landscape in the background.
No
That
problem.
also, by the way, everybody gets fooled by it. Like they'll come on the show and like the quick little talk I have with them before the show, they're like, "Oh, a nice apartment, man."
The Skype people know their audience well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. All right. So in the past year, there have been some extreme updates to the leaderboards. So this is one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, with the leaderboard change that has happened within the past, 8 months, we have the local leaderboards now, which is a great added benefit. We get keys now for placing on those leaderboards.
Right.
And also, the change with a crypto payout. There's no longer crypto payouts for leaderboards. It's all keys,
Right.
Which in some people's eyes is better. I think a lot of our eyes, maybe not your eyes.
No, why? The keys get you crypto. I just want the crypto, right?
That's very true. And also a lot of other leaderboards came with that. The QB collector leaderboards, trivia. So at the time, it was called Quizmaster.
Yeah.
They had teased us the Quizmaster trivia was coming out, and I had said that maybe this is one of the ones that I wanted to go for. So looking back, that was a horrible take. Sorry, Rubik's.
You're answering vaults and you're trying to learn things, so
I thought I had it, but the lack of green vaults in my area, and also at the time, I think that if you answered, a couple red vaults. If you answered the 2 red vaults that had happened, it shot you up those leaderboards really quickly. And I just fell behind so quickly. I think I'm at 500th, which is like my worst. It's actually
oh my god,
it's actually my worst leaderboard.
What? I didn't think you would be that far back. 500.
Quickly.
Yeah, where are you at?
Because I mean, if I'm at 500, I'll be proud of myself because I don't think I'm even that high.
I'm 7th. I'm right behind Black Boy.
It must be nice. Oh, okay. I'm 373rd.
Oh, so, see, you're like 100 more than you were.
That's not bad, but that's actually my worst leaderboard, which is really impressive.
Where you at on the QB collector?
QB collector, I'm doing quite well. I'm actually 81 on the QB collector front.
Okay.
But that would only be because I just recently printed a bunch of tikis, right?
Nice. I'm 7th. I'm right behind Black Boy.
Again, on that one too?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Same thing.
Are you top 10 on every leaderboard?
Not referrals.
Okay. Because we did talk about the referral leaderboard on our last podcast.
We did, and how it would never change, and it changed.
It changes, and it changes a lot, doesn't it?
And at least, I mean, Marlov took over Squeamy, which I never thought would happen, but of course, having the wiki seemed to help quite a bit.
That was the absolute reason why. Yeah, so Squeamy, Bitcoin Brock. You know what? A lot of these players on here, I was gonna say aren't playing anymore.
Are they not?
But, no,
Space Hobo doesn't.
There's Space Hobo. There's, Bitcoin Brock. I've seen on the leaderboards lately, but not very much. And even if I go down to Nico G, who they play here and there, but
okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
they're old school people. Old school. Yeah. These are people that did things like they made a video and that video lives on after them.
Yeah.
So it's still getting referrals out of it.
Yeah. That's one of the topics I actually had. So I literally just wrote down content. So one of the things that has happened within the past year is the explosion of content, right? For Coin Hunt World related. I mean,
yeah.
You were on the scene. You're doing a podcast, right? I mean, I'm not even just talking about the content creators at our podcast, but also like there's a large YouTube scene. There's a large Twitch scene. I love how a lot of the people, like, I don't know what kicked it off, but I enjoy watching all the content. I also enjoy making it. So I'm glad that that has come around as well. I'm not sure what that's done in terms of growth for the game, but I know that it's helped at least users who are playing the game.
I think it helps. I've seen at least I go into the beginner chat sometimes and people will say like, oh yeah, hey guys, can you help me? Blah, blah, blah. I've watched some YouTube videos and, or like, hey, yeah, I'm just going to go watch some YouTube videos and figure this out. So the problem is some of that content is now changed. So they're learning something that isn't right anymore. So that's the tough part.
Yeah, I know. And the changes come so frequently and they're not always like, there is the wiki, but there's no official place to, other than the Medium page, I guess, which is funny because that brings us back to that Purple Vault question that Jenny 808 got wrong, which is a heartbreaker, right?
That was it's bad.
So I know you know the question, but just for posterity reasons for the listeners, the question was how many in that year wrap up review, how many QBs were actually left at print shops and not collected? And the answer was 1,040.
Correct.
And that's a tough, like, would you get that answer right? If you're out there, like even a more intense situation than Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you're sweating by the volcano, like, do you have the Medium pulled up? Like, you don't, right? You only have the wiki open. You're not even ready for that question.
And that was with, I think, people watching and wikiing and doing all that, and nobody could get to that article fast enough. People knew where it was, and it took longer than a minute to get that information. And so it's all about that information that is put out officially. You got to figure out how to retain all of that and put it in one place, because I honestly, I love the wiki. It's too hard to figure out. Like, if I want to find out, like, hey, what's the recipe for the pirate? it's not easy to find. So
Mm-hmm.
there's lots of information there, but there's no easy way to find it.
Yeah.
And obviously I appreciate everything that those guys are doing. And a lot of those pages look awesome. But I can't make heads or tails of finding a lot of things at the wiki. It's just kind of like a random click and find things. So
I agree. I use the search function a lot.
Doesn't help with blueprints. Go ahead and find a recipe.
No, the search function needs some work. I'd be willing to help. Reach out to me and I'll be willing to help. Try to implement a better search function there. I think what needs to happen is like an autofill, which is some pretty basic JavaScript, but I don't know what they're working on. I think they do a lot with WordPress because Kevin has been taking over and it does an amazing job. But the search function needs to be better. That's the one I use the most. Obviously it's all done for free, right? And
yes,
all by players who play this game just want to do the work because they want to do it. So I'd be happy to help. But I use the search function the most, and I use it during events. I think I've graduated past the point of needing a wiki, which I'm grateful for. Like I'm not kind of like putting it down. I don't really need it anymore. I think I'm
the same way many of us graduate past the map. Like unless you're going somewhere new, you don't need the map anymore.
Exactly. It's been a while since I've been on the map. Sometimes I'll update, like if I move a dozer around or whatever, I move a user vault around, I want to update just so I can get like my Anakura did a great job with like the leaderboard points on that. Yeah. Now I want to be the top of the map.
You get a red key for that?
Yes, sir. No.
Ooh. Oh,
that'd be a great little experiment though. But yeah. So having that Medium article, I mean, I always thought a per book vault question would be easy right up until that question. And it's funny on that podcast that I did with Loopty, I actually, I had the Medium. I typically have it open on my browsers just from doing, throughout the week research. So I was able to find it really quickly, like less than 20 seconds. I was able to find that information.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, how did you kind of like, I thought it was going to be easy. But now in hindsight, I look back and it wasn't. Definitely a tough question. Good guess. I think she guessed 1420. Which is a little bit of a little bit of bait because it's got 420 in it, but it's actually so close to the real answer.
That's the thing. Sometimes the answer, like if there's just four answers that are close to each other, that makes the question that much harder. If you kind of have an inkling and the question the answers are all spread way apart,
you got to know it.
You'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. You do have to know it. So in the past year we had the dynamic rewards as well, which was great update, perfect update, one of our favorites. And it's actually so funny because during our first podcast they slipped it in, and I used the same terminology that they used, and they said that this dynamic rewards, I don't know that's the exact phrasing they used, but they said that this was a potential way to make more crypto. So like if you answered quickly, you'd get rewarded for that more. Little did we know that came with the halvening of all the vaults rewards, and then hunter mode as well. So it was kind of a little sneaky.
I don't remember it exactly that way. Yes, if the way you just framed it, if it was like hey, you can get more crypto at the exact same time that we're going to call it 5 cents instead of 10. That is sneaky as hell.
I'm sure it wasn't on purpose. I think that they were. I think they floated the idea of the dynamic rewards by using that terminology, saying, "Oh, like if you do it more quickly, you get more crypto," and everyone was like, "Yeah, we love that." Duh. And then it came along with the afterthought of, oh, maybe that's not such a great idea, but the dynamic rewards, I think overall, has this been a benefit to the game? Has it been has it been detrimental to the game? What's been going on?
There's definitely a lot of negative feedback of people saying things about like, oh, I should have gotten a perfect. It was a great, or just people talking about like I can't read that fast, or I'm dyslexic, or all that kind of stuff. I think they had to just find a way to make kind of like a natural way to cut down on some of the crypto and make it more of like a skill game.
Right.
So I've said something along the lines of, it's a skill game where, yeah, if you can't read fast, you're not going to get it perfect. That's not perfect.
Yeah.
That's great or good or whatever. So turn it on chill mode if you have to. But it's not that kind of game where, everybody gets a fair shake. I mean, look at they have walking rewards. Not everybody can walk.
That's true. Very true. So have you ever turned on chill mode?
What kind of heavy dumb question is that? That's the dumbest question you have asked in your 40-some interviews.
You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
You know what? I did it once by accident. I clicked it.
I know. I hate that, because then you'll see like it'll say right answer, and you're like, oh, something's wrong here.
I don't even notice that. I just noticed the sats or whatever drop enormously, and I'm like, wait, I just got that perfect, or I got that. Yeah. That was fast.
Yeah.
It should have been faster.
I don't notice it from the sats. I notice it from, because instead of saying like perfect, great, or good, it'll just say right in like regular old font. And I'm like, something's not going on. I didn't get enough dopamine off that.
Yeah. Yes. That's really what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So
tell the dopamine's off.
The dynamic rewards, crazy update. I mean, there's so many updates that have just completely flipped this game on its head.
I don't mind the dynamic at all, because I've always been a super fast, like I have that anxiety in me of like, I want to answer this as fast as possible. I want to do this as fast as possible. So that fits right in with how I am. So sure. Yeah. Make it even faster. I don't care.
So then the newest update then, which decreased the perfect zone even further to 2.5 seconds. What do you, are there thoughts on that, or has this not affected you at all?
A little too fast.
Okay.
It's so 99% of the time it doesn't affect me. Every once in a while, I just have to find the right answer out of those four. Your eyes just don't naturally find it every single time. And you get a grade every once in a while just because you couldn't get to the answer fast enough. But that's the game, right? That find it fast.
Yeah, they suck when it comes to green questions. Which is the main concern. It's not even, I'm not even worried about it on Blue Vaults, because even during this dip it's like 40,000 Gwei. I'm like, okay, whatever.
and already before this, I was always Googling if I didn't know the answer. Right. You couldn't get a perfect if you Googled. So I could still get a great. So that's why I don't really understand why it was changed for green vaults, because if I have to Google it, I'm still getting a great anyway. Right. Yeah. Or maybe a good if I really have to search for it. But for the most part, either I know it and it's perfect, or I have to Google it and it's great.
Yeah. And that was to try to combat, their crypto payout. I guess this is something your other half, or I guess, not your other half, but your other
wife,
not your wife, but your podcasting wife. He always has the, he's always spewing the doomsday. I guess it's not doomsday, but he wants the game to succeed, and he sees, the crypto payouts getting much worse over time, and I don't think he's complaining about that. He's just warning about what he sees happening.
I feel like he looks at the bills at his family's house and he's always like, why did you buy this? Like there's too much money leaving, like that kind of thing. That's what I picture.
The thing is, though, is that I usually agree with him on those topics. When it comes to key sinks or cash sinks or whatever they have to do to stop paying out so much. And what I thought was really weird is that they set a limit for the Hawaii event of 1,200 vaults, and then halfway through they're like, we're paying out too much crypto.
What? Don't make me hit 1,200 vaults.
At least that's bare minimum. So that's the kind of where it takes a little bit of a turn. And he had a great point, and I'm trying to recall it off the top of my head. It's not working. Yeah, Zach did, and it's not working. But he had a great idea about how. I'm still relying on me.
Was it gatherer mode?
Yes, gatherer mode. That's what it was.
Okay.
where you
turn off the crypto,
you could turn off the
turn
crypto
it down.
payments, turn it down, right, and then get an additional little bit of extra resources, which has been talked about before, and which would be a better way to, I feel like, limit the amount of crypto.
I like the idea that you could turn that on and off, somebody who doesn't want to do that would still benefit from how they want to, and somebody who doesn't, who's like, yeah, sure, I'll fanboy it and take all the flowers you can give me, then hopefully that balance creates what they want and not just force it on everybody.
Creates more choices, which they love.
Yeah, too. I mean, this is all going off of however the treasury works, which none of us know. So
exactly, which is that's one of those questions that's got to be answered on my podcast with Illusion Weaver.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That'll be a real good sweating question.
I'm gonna say he's gonna defer to Cuckoo Puffs and say you have to wait till episode 420 to see him.
No, we're calling him on the spot. I mean, like,
call him right now. That's good.
But yeah, that would be a great way to kind of diminish the coin hunt world payout. I mean, again, you're asking. Here's another thing.
Wow.
And I don't know if a lot of people will agree with me on this. This might be a hot take. It probably isn't though. But there was nothing wrong with how they did the Hawaii event. I liked it. And the people who came first or, completed it first were obviously driving. I don't really have an issue with that because, it's a competition at that point. It's definitely a competition for the first. And so you're going to succeed at however you can. But if they were to be able to stop you from excelling while driving, it would definitely also decrease the crypto payments. So because people like yourself, I know this is actually probably this is hurting your piggy bank. So, but people like yourself wouldn't be able to hit 3,000 vaults.
Right.
I don't know if because Minel was right below you, right, on that.
Right.
Which hold on, I can actually pull up the exact numbers. I mean,
and if you're gonna say he walked the whole time, there's no way. He always says
he didn't.
He drives to the next hot spot.
Okay. And that's what the game kind of was intended to play as. But yeah, it's not doable without walking or without driving. Sorry. So
that many vaults.
Trying to limit. I mean, I was able to do 1,200 volts without getting in the car, which is good. It took me the whole 10 days.
Sure.
Right.
Which sounds like the intended purpose.
It was the intended purpose, but there was no way I could have won that.
The behind the scenes.
Exactly. There's lots of things they could do to try to minimize it. I think the way that they did it by turning the 3 seconds to 2.5 was a little bit not needed. I feel like they could have found different, better ways, but
do you think that was intended for drivers?
No, I don't think it was intended for drivers. I think it was just intended for on their pockets.
Just crypto in general.
Just crypto, yeah. So if you can still drive with this game, they're going to be paying out. I mean, even walking, you can set yourself up to where they're going to pay you.
Sure.
But doing the driving thing makes you more money, gets you more resources, completes it faster for you. So if they continue in the direction of, keeping this, allowing this, which I have no problem with, then they got to expect to be paying these people.
I've listened to your latest podcast, and you sound like you have a problem with drivers, which I am a driver who plays this game. I would 100% agree with you. They should figure out a way to either, hey, you're going too fast, the game shuts off, or the quest lines now require walking. You must complete X amount of walking before anything happens. I'm all for that, and it will be a detriment to me. I don't have a grand city area where I can just walk forever and get stuff, because that's what I would do.
Yeah.
But I don't have that. I have highways and neighborhoods, and
you were even talking about walking infrastructure too, which was important. I thought that was extremely important because I have a bunch of parks around my house. If you don't even have, some people don't even have sidewalks,
Right. Like when I talk about we talk about the walk to McDonald's, which is actually
exactly.
It's like the most American intersection ever. There's a Advanced Auto Parts, McDonald's, and a gun store are the three things on that corner. So you walk up, you hit one, you hit the other, you come back, and then you come all the way back.
Oh no, a gun store, dude.
Yeah.
The lives we live are so different. Like there's no such thing as a gun store in Canada.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, I'll take a picture of it next time. It literally just says guns on the side of it. Literally does.
It's like XXX guns.
If it was also like a liquor store or strip club, that would be like a Las Vegas thing.
That's funny. You know what? I don't. So maybe I do have a slight. The beef with driving has always been when it comes to leaderboards. Because it was unattainable. So that has been completely fixed for me. So I no longer have that beef at all. What I worry about is safety. And that's not for me. It's for you. It's for you guys.
Sure.
You know, some of you are obviously I'd probably say most of you are safe, but you know, it doesn't. You know, I was listening to the ladies of the hunt. We'll get. You know, they were they were talking about driving safely. Which, you know, I understand people are driving safely. You know, you're not getting in the car to not drive safely. Everyone's doing that. You never want to get into a car accident, but that's not how car accidents work, you know, especially, you know, it could be so many different things, you know, it could be an inanimate object. It could be a person, it could be another, you know, so
absolutely.
My beef it was always with kind of the leaderboards. With the actual quest chain, I have no beef with it at all. I think that, you know, if you're going to be the first to complete this, you know, look at Lion Locks, you know, completing it in 23 hours, no chance you do that no chance you do this great feat by walking. And, you know, that keeps it the extreme competitive edge, those 5 NFTs at the start. Like those are for those people who are taking it absolutely serious. You know, they're driving throughout the night, they're doing the whole thing, and I congratulate those players and people. But yeah, it's a little bit of the safety concern for me, which is in the back burner. But the main beef was the leaderboards, but that's been completely taken care of. You can't compete on the leaderboards now if you're only driving at all. I could do one full complete all 8 quests and you could drive all month. And it might be like very close.
Well, so what you're left with is the people that can end up doing both. Like I haven't missed a walking quest this month and I got 3,000 vaults. So if I have the time, I can still get you.
That's true.
If I drive too.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm just like, maybe they need to figure out the driving thing, or I'm also thinking it might just get fixed by the fact that it's going to take so long to get all these keys back. Like I could spend 400 keys that I have in one day of driving if I really want to, and then it's gone, and then that's it, and then I'm back to walking up to McDonald's again. So
exactly,
that's it. So I think that's where we'll end up. But I think that's what's going to end up being. Honestly, sometimes I think, why do they even have leaderboards? Like people get so hyped over these leaderboards.
Extremely.
Part of it could be like, I love the co-op parts of this game. Like when they said everybody throw your resin into this crane, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Anything that's co-op, I love in a game. I would almost rather there wasn't competition in it. But you know, they started handing out crypto, and then they stopped, and they started giving out keys, and somehow it's still just as competitive to get the keys.
Exactly.
So, and now the glory has built up. So like people want those NFTs and that kind of stuff, which I still haven't gotten, by the way. So.
You're right. You probably have them in your inventory though.
I just have the Hawaii participation one.
You don't have for the month, the month that you won. Oh wow. Okay.
No hide nor hair of anything happening with that.
Interesting. And there's been no speak of that.
Nope. And I'm not worried about it, but I'm just going to say it here that I haven't gotten it, and I don't think any of us have.
And I'm sure you want it. You would like that.
I like it actually, and I said before that Kay had got me the poster. I still have to get it. Get it framed, but I will put it right.
I was gonna say that's perfect in the podcast room.
I'll put it right over there as soon as I do. I keep flaking on it, but I will do it.
Yeah, that'll be good. Okay, bathroom break. Sorry, okay.
Good timing.
Very good timing. All right, we're back here. I forget what we were talking about.
I don't know. I wanted to mention too that one thing we had mentioned was that merch was going to come out Last time we talked.
I remember that. I loved that because this still has not come out, and there's been like no word on that.
I've seen some people make some cool things, and I'm waiting for it to be whatever approved or sanctioned or whatever.
I know. I see a lot of these very, very cool things on Twitter going away. People are making things. I'm wondering if they have the license to do so. I'm guessing not.
Who's going to stop you?
I guess nobody.
I'll buy whatever everybody's got.
So if you see some cool shit for Coin Hunt World, tag me on Twitter, and I'd love to look at it or buy it.
I want to make some Coin Hunt World shoes. I'm going to call them Beats on your feet.
They better be real good, man.
Maybe Beats on the street. I don't know.
Can I get 20,000 steps in them a day?
You can.
Okay.
You can.
Good. Okay. So I guess we'll just move on. We're gonna wrap this up. We got 10 minutes left, so I kind of want to know about the events. So we'll roll them all into one. So we've had I can't remember if this is true or not, but we've had the elemental invasion since we talked, right?
Yep.
And then after that would have been Halloween.
And
then after that would have been Christmas.
Yep.
And then
sounds right. Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving turkey.
Well,
Come on.
We had the New Year's and the Thanksgiving turkey.
And then Chinese New Year event.
Oh, right. Chinese New Year. Of course. Yes. Okay. So the Chinese New Year. And you said you completed all of them. Which one was your favorite and why?
Out of those, you know what? I like them all for different reasons. The toughest one was the Chinese New Year event, just because everything was sure. RNG. I didn't got that Chinese the yellow dragon until the very end, and the scales were like a last minute thing. So that one was by far the toughest.
And the easiest?
I guess the easiest was the Hawaii one, just because it felt like you could see the finish line, that kind of thing.
Right. You knew where the end was. Yeah.
And I didn't have the flowers until later, but that was the last thing I needed. But just even the fact that I was like, all right, I'm almost there. I a couple more flowers. I had good RNG with the flowers, so that one didn't feel too bad. But did you complete any of the quests?
So I did the completed the Christmas one, and I ended up completing the Hawaii one.
Nice.
And so I missed the Chinese New Year for good reason, because it was extremely tough.
Yeah.
That one was, the RNG related one.
Yep.
I wish it wasn't, but I ended up hitting a lot of vaults, probably about the same I hit in Hawaii, so over 1,200, but not too many over that. I didn't end up getting the yellow dragon blueprint from the vaults, but regardless of that, I got maybe 160 scales throughout the whole event. So
that was the hard part.
Yeah, that one was tough. That one was real tricky. I wasn't expecting it when I went into the Chinese New Year event, and it being that difficult at all.
Really
I was not
tough.
expecting that. Yeah.
Did you sell your HQ skins, or you keep them?
No.
What's your?
No.
You like that? So I see some people just sell them like, I don't need this.
I know, it's pretty. That's crazy to me. I haven't bought any extras. So I still have the gingerbread one, and I have the Hawaii one, which I think are the two coolest ones.
The Hawaii one is awesome.
It's so cool.
I love
so
the little surf bungalow thing. It's cool.
Exactly. I want to live in one of those when I'm older. Just like retired on a beach. Anyways, I won't sell those. I won't sell those until I can actually use them, because I know that I mean, they were talked about one time before, and they said that maybe you can use them and unequip them. And then when you use them, you get leaderboard points. So I was thinking, at the bare minimum, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till you can use the things.
Right.
And then if they go down in value because they're not very useful after that, then so be it. But I think that even right now, they're worth a red, maybe two. And I think that they'll be extremely rare as the game goes on. I mean, think about it. Only 300 people. I mean, your Chinese New Year event one is probably even much more rare. Only 50 people completed that? Less?
I don't remember the number, but yeah, it was definitely less. So
I want to say
30. I'm holding it. I don't have anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to just have a red key sitting around, so I'd rather have the thing. And you're the first person to say you get leaderboard points for putting it on, so I'll definitely hold it now.
Mm-hmm. That was said, and I'm pretty certain that was said, or else I just made that up completely. But that was it could be. That was believe that was said by Illusion Weaver a long time ago.
Somebody fact check that and
yes, please. Fact check that, because that could be
hit
totally
both
wrong.
of us up with a
yes, please. Yeah, because that would be ideal. And as we know, those kind of things can change in the flip as they're being made. So I could be made a liar later on, you know.
One of the things we talked about too was dark mode.
And how I have dark mode on here.
I just turned the brightness down on my screen. I never left dark mode the second it came.
I was gonna ask. I have this. I literally have it as like dark mode. Do you use it?
Never ever left it once it came.
Good man. And I told you that I was a dark mode freak, and I'm on the same page, man. I have not stopped using dark mode since it came out. I love dark mode. I'm surprised. And with the walking quests, you kind of have to use it, right? Because your battery gets eaten up without it.
Well, I bought one of those anchor power cell things, so I never have to worry about it.
That's a pro hunter right there. Yeah.
And also, forget hunting. Like, I don't have to sit by the electrical outlet when I charge my phone. No, when I'm sitting at my house, because I'm on my phone all the time, so I can just sit on my couch with my thing plugged into it. So
very smart.
Like that.
Very smart. Okay, before I let you go here,
I wanted to say too, we talked about the trivia categories that were going to come up, and some of them have come to fruition, but there are 7 that are still out there that have not come.
Still not here. And we touched on the fashion one. You said you'd be brutal on it. Has that ended up being true?
I clicked fashion once because I thought it was films. That's it.
You guys.
I'll never click it. I don't know what a hat is or pants. I don't know.
It's actually kind of easy for the blue belt question.
I don't believe you.
Okay, it's quite easy. Like, I had one that was, it described a T-shirt, and it's like, what is this? And the answer was T-shirt. So
I have no idea.
To be fair, reading the question took a little bit of time. So if you don't know them, it might not be worth it, because now you're only getting a grade. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. See, like you gotta do that whole newbie thing all over again. You gotta read the question and not just get it off of one word.
Exactly. And the one that I was really anticipating, well, at the time, was cryptocurrency, which that one came out, and
kill that one, right?
I love that one, and I feel like everybody kind of likes that one. It was a learning curve for some. It was really easy for others, but in like overall, I feel like the consensus was it's an enjoyable category. I don't know if you like it. Okay, there you go. You like it?
I click it on greens and everything.
Okay, good.
I feel like it's that nice base level of hey, as long as you kind of know the basics of crypto,
you can get these questions. Exactly, especially for greens, it's so clutch.
I love it.
That and wordplay.
There's only been a couple of like ticker symbols it asks about, and I'm like, I've never heard of that crypto before. And then, but it's cool because then I go and figure out what that is. So
there you go. Yeah.
I like it.
And the other one that I was really excited for was mythology, which hasn't come out, but that one would be super exciting.
Yep.
I think. And a lot of categories have came since, because it's been a while. Fashion, food and drink came, and food and drink came at the time of the elemental invasion. Or wait, slightly after? Might have been after.
I don't remember because I never clicked on it.
What, food and drink?
Yeah, I don't.
You don't dabble in food and drink either.
I don't eat or drink.
Wow, I'm impressed. I don't know how you keep those coin hunt world stats with not eating and drinking.
I watch a lot of films. I listen to a lot of music.
That's true. Very true. All right, Beats. I'm gonna let you go because it's almost reset time. So
yes, thank you, sir.
It's been a pleasure as always. You're
to you, man.
I do too. Our conversations are always insightful. I learn a lot from you. I'm hoping other players do too. Hope they learn the same amount from you. Obviously, you've been playing the game for so long and been at the top for so long that it's only right to pass down your wisdom. So, and I'm happy you're doing the podcast with Zach as well, because it's classes in session every week. And
and I love hearing just from the people that you have on there too, because there's people that we would never hear from, and
Never hear,
personalities that are on the Discord that I would love to hear from. So
Exactly.
there's actually a few people that I would still love to hear from, and I was like, don't have me on, have these other couple of people on.
I have a couple of things lined up. I'm trying to integrate it with getting a couple of new people, and then a follow-up episode from the next person. So yeah, you'll still be hearing from new players.
Good.
So that'll be nice. Yeah. So, and also DM me the people you want to hear from.
I will. Absolutely will. I'll tell you right after this too.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you for coming on. We'll cut it here so you can go hunt. But it's been a pleasure. Thank you again.
Thanks so much.